All right, today we are jumping into one of the most famous, most quoted, and let's be honest, maybe one of the most misunderstood guides to life ever delivered, the Sermon on the Mount. So let me just start with a question for you. What if everything you and I have been told about success, about power, about happiness, what if it's all completely backward? Now, that's not just a fun little thought experiment. It's the radical, central idea at the very heart of what we're talking about today.
You can find it in the Gospel of Matthew. And believe me, this isn't just a collection of nice, inspirational sayings you'd find on a coffee mug. It's a revolutionary manifesto that really challenges our deepest assumptions about what it means to live a truly good life.
But before we get into the what of the sermon, we really need to understand the who and the where. Because with this, context is absolutely everything.
Okay, pay close attention to the audience here. Jesus isn't standing in a stadium addressing a massive random crowd. No, this is an intimate teaching session for his disciples. These are the people who had already said, yes, we're in, we're going to follow you. He's basically giving them the inside track.
So what he's doing is laying out the core values, kind of like the Constitution, for what's often called an upside-down kingdom. He's describing a community that's designed to operate on a completely different set of principles than the rest of the world.
And that blueprint, that Constitution, it starts with a series of really powerful statements known as the Beatitudes. Now, the word beatitude just means something like supreme blessedness or true happiness. These are the foundational attitudes for this whole new way of living.
And right out of the gate, the script gets flipped. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Now, this has nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account. It's all about recognizing you don't have all the answers. It's about being humble, being teachable, and admitting you need wisdom from a source bigger than yourself. Then he says, blessed are the meek. You know, our culture often hears meek and thinks weak or doormat, but that's not it at all. Here, it's redefined as strength under control. It's about having power, but choosing to use it with gentleness and patience. Think about a leader who could crush their critics but chooses dialogue instead. Or someone online who gets attacked but responds with grace instead of lashing out. That is meekness.
So, starting from these core attitudes, Jesus then takes these well-known laws that everyone grew up with and pushes them to a much, much deeper level. He shifts the focus from just our external actions to the very source of those actions, our hearts.
For example, it's pretty easy for most of us to say, well, I haven't murdered anyone. Check. But Jesus says, hang on, the root of murder is anger. He challenges us to deal with the anger festering in our hearts, to go after the cause, not just the symptom. And we're not just talking about explosive rage here. This is about the quiet contempt we might feel for a coworker, or the dehumanizing label we stick on someone we disagree with politically. He's saying that's the seed.
And you see the exact same pattern with adultery. The standard isn't just about avoiding a physical act. He goes deeper, targeting our internal thought life, that lustful glance. The challenge is to cultivate an inner world of integrity, where your private thoughts and your public commitments are actually aligned. It's a radical call to wholeness, not just rule-keeping.
Okay, so if your heart is being transformed, how does that actually change the way you interact with people? I mean, especially the people who are really, really difficult to deal with. Well, this is where the teaching gets its most radical. This is probably the most famous and, let's be real, the most difficult command in the entire sermon. Love your enemies. I mean, this is the ultimate expression of that upside-down kingdom. It's easy to love people who love you back, right? But this is something else entirely. And that forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question, doesn't it? In our world today, a world that feels so defined by division, by us versus them, what would it actually look like to love our enemies? Not just tolerate them, but to actively pray for their well-being. It's a staggering thought. So after all this challenging, world-altering teaching, Jesus doesn't just say thanks for listening. He ends with a story, a simple parable that forces every single person listening to make a choice.
He says the wise person is the one who not only hears these teachings, but actually does them. They build their life on this foundation. And when the storms of life, which, they inevitably come for all of us, when they come, their house stands firm.
But then there's the foolish person. And here's the thing. They hear the exact same words. They might even agree with them, think they're nice ideas, but they don't put them into practice. Their life is built on sand, and when those same storms hit, it all comes crashing down.
So here's the crucial point. This sermon isn't just information to be learned, it's an invitation to be lived. It ends with a direct choice that confronts every one of us. What are you building your life on? Is it the solid rock of these teachings, or is it the shifting sand of cultural norms and your own personal convenience?
If this has sparked your curiosity and you're feeling ready to explore what it really means to build on that solid rock, we've put together a ton of resources to help you get started. You can learn more by visiting sermonacademy.com.
And finally, if you found this explainer valuable, would you please consider supporting our work? Your donation helps us create more content just like this and helps more people discover what it means to build their lives on solid ground. You can contribute at sermonacademy.com/donate. Thanks so much for watching.